What's up, guys? Welcome back to this episode of the Frame Shift podcast. Today we've got a great guest, buddy of mine. Him and I got really close on a few projects. Joe Shashaty, world-renowned saxophonist, incredible musician overall, extremely talented. Joe, welcome.
Thanks for having me, bro.
So let's get right into it. I got a question for you. Your last name's Shashaty.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I was born and raised in Miami.
Where do your roots call home?
I am of Lebanese heritage.
The food.
Oh.
The what's it called that you would heat up for us?
Oh, yeah,
when
the
we were
kibbeh.
editing. Yes.
Yeah.
That was so good and just such a little refreshing treat once you've been editing for 6 hours straight, you
It's
know?
the spot.
Exactly.
How many times did that save us?
Too many? Is that a bad thing to say?
Not at all. Dude.
We did. Those were long, long nights. But
Yeah, man, marathons, editing, and cutting audio, and just kind of riffing together for quite a while, like almost half a year. We were at first.
Yeah, no, literally at first, then it's grown into all this.
Yeah.
But before we touch on that, let's talk more about you as a musician. So, you're an accomplished saxophone player. Where did that begin for you?
Oh, I mean, if I'm going to go back to the beginning, in high school, I really kind of recognized the saxophone as what was going to be my voice. Way before high school, I knew that I wanted to be in the music industry. I just didn't know exactly what capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the saxophone became one of the few, if not the only instrument that, to me, has the qualities of a human voice. So when I say voice, that's really what it became for me. If you listen to a saxophone, it has vowels. It has a lot of the same inflections.
That's a good word for it. I was trying to think of a good word.
Yeah.
That's a good word for it.
As a human voice. And over the years, you learn to develop it. I went into college to music school after high school and never looked back. I started really my first live performance band, which I still am rolling with to this day, 35 years ago, something like that.
And you guys are still...
Yeah, different forms, different band members have come in and out, but the concept is still the same brand, and and it's just been an amazing journey for me. I knew that I wanted to have an original project.
How are you creating the sounds that you create and the inflections that you create? By just touching a button, not a button, but what do you call the
keys?
The keys.
Well, I mean, it's everything. And as you mature as an artist, as a saxophone player, you find little inflections and approaches where, like, even you find all kinds of gold, like even if you're not fully pressing a key, you find all kinds of, like I said before, like vowels and verbiage that you use to express, otherwise it's going to sound very, very straight and monotone. Yeah. And people recognize a saxophone as an extremely expressive, romantic, sexy instrument, that really moves people.
Just adds a whole nother dynamic to a song, to the sound itself.
Yeah, I can attest that there's not a lot of times where you actually miss the vocals. Although over the years I've worked with plenty of vocalists, and I've integrated that, and there's so many creative ways that I've found to do that, and it even appears on one of my mini albums that I've released. And I mean, the project has matured in that way, where at first it was like almost always instrumental, and then gradually, one band member comes in that can also sing, and you integrate that, and you find creative ways to make that work and coexist with the saxophone as a lead instrument.
What's the best kind of collaboration that you've had so far? Like, in terms of, like, who have you just connected with and it's just vibed, it's just been that moment for you guys?
Well, I've been blessed enough to be on stage with a lot of world renowned artists and legendary. I've been on stage. I opened up for the Bee Gees years ago when they were all still alive. But to answer your question, I always, can't veer from this. I was Carlos Santana invited me to perform with him on stage at a live concert, and he personally invited me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll never forget like sitting in, with a living legend,
What was
and rehearsing with him before we went on stage, and him bringing the band in, and us sitting in a circle where he was sitting like right next to me, and the surrealness was amazing. I mean, like, oh my God, this is a
legend?
a historical musical legend from Woodstock,
Yeah.
and a lot of those guys really changed the shape of rock and roll and music.
No, it's an amazing, because I mean we've talked about it off air before.
Yeah.
Like, you have actually played, like, name some of the people that you've played with. Like,
Yeah.
it's an unreal list.
God, I can go on. I just, George Benson, Carlos Santana, Kenny G, the Bee Gees, Al Jarreau. I mean, Earth, Wind and Fire, Blood, Sweat and Tears. My gosh, I would sit here and mumble forever, like trying to recall.
How did you, I mean, obviously your talent gets you there, but how did you successfully land all those opportunities? And
Yeah, I mean, that's how I really knew I was on the right path, because once I started my project, as I told you before, like it was maybe 2 years later that I was playing in a bar in Coconut Grove, Florida, in Miami. Like a lot of up and coming groups do. They play these smaller venues, and
Mhm.
they grow from there. And a promoter walked in, just off the cup, didn't even know who
at
they
the
were.
right moment.
And they walked up to us and asked us if we would like to open up for REO Speedwagon, and that was my first
Big opportunity.
big step into a different world.
Yeah.
And the concert promoter for that concert happened to be a promoter that worked for a company that was one of two promoters at the time that shaped rock and roll in this country. He ended up managing me for 15 years. A guy named Peter Smith. And the company at the time was called Cellar Door Concerts. And that's, that was the roots of rock and roll. And those promoters were close friends with some of the biggest legends you could possibly.
And that helped you.
And this guy would be right there alongside working with them. And he asked at that concert after our show, opening it for REO Speedwagon, walked up to me backstage. You can't make this up. I mean, he said, would you be interested in management? Like, let me think. Yes.
Yes, please. Sign me up.
Yeah. And that guy, obviously, I was very blessed to have that kind of management and representation, because, he put my brand on the map.
And got your name in the door. And then you were able to take control at that point and show that you're worth it.
And start recording albums, and a couple of my albums have charted on Billboard, and I've released several singles to radio, and and that always, the first time I ever heard one of my songs on the radio, like, never forget where you are, or
Where were
when
you?
that happens. I was in a car. I was like, back then there wasn't satellite radio or anything. You just listen to the channel.
Right.
I was going to play it. And then when it comes on, like, everybody's calling each other right at that moment, like the whole band. It's just crazy.
Everything just lights up.
Crazy.
No,
So now you said you collabed with Kenny G. Doesn't he also plays the sax, right?
He plays this. He plays the same three saxophones as I do: tenor, alto, and soprano. I've actually been in his company a few times, and beautiful guy. Just very gracious, and I'll never forget him asking, "Tell me, what kind of music are you doing?" And he's like, "Because I have the mellow thing covered," and that was a good thing, and which was true. And what was cool for me is that I wasn't really focusing on the mellow thing. I was focusing on instrumental music, more on the line of Santana. I guess Santana was a hero of mine before I even met him, and which is more of an edgy, approach to, if you're going to call yourself an instrumentalist. I really think that that's what made us stand out. It's like it was. you're going to an instrumental show and people immediately think jazz, right? And then when you cut loose with like a Pink Floyd tune,
It's a little bit not. It's a little bit different.
yeah.
It's
And
not
it must
exactly
sound
what they were.
amazing too, right? Where you've got like two saxophones and then each of you are doing your own kind of special thing with it. It's
Right.
got to sound amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, are you better?
Ah,
Ooh,
Kenny G.
who's better, Kenny G
he's a
or
master.
Mr. J?
Listen, man, he's a master of his craft. And I always tell people, don't let the mellow, simple music fool you. This guy comes from a background of jazz fusion, and which is how he actually got discovered. And and at the time, Clive Davis, the owner of Arista Records at the time, said, "Hey, I got this little idea that I want to try out with you." And it ended up being this very mellow, simple melody lines that just took off, like melody lines that, like, for the pretty much the first time the masses could remember.
I
'cause
gotcha.
people always relate to vocals and lyrics.
Yeah, that's what they
Obviously.
remember.
Right, yeah, exactly. But that's where he crossed over and really, changed the game.
What was your favorite album that you've put forward so far?
That's a tough one. My last album I recorded was a few years ago, and that one I had 3 singles go to radio. One of them made it into the top 20 of Billboard Contemporary Instrumental,
Okay,
which was a pretty big milestone.
I would say so.
I would have to give that one.
What was the name of that one?
That one is called not Dream Ride, but Brighter Days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good old Brighter Days, guys.
Yeah.
Go check that out.
Brighter Day, yeah. And
Brighter Day.
Brighter Day, and then the title track is Brighter Days,
Okay,
but you can find it everywhere.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, make sure to go check that out for sure.
Right on.
And what radio stations were playing that type of music?
When I was, yeah, good question. When I was coming up, there was an exploding format, basically in the vein of contemporary instrumental. And, I confess that I leaned more into that genre in the writing style just because, especially back then, getting radio was everything. Like if you were really going to move up, you had to get, your name out there.
Yeah.
And
It's a main medium to do that.
I mean, back then for sure. Now it's just a whole different game.
Internet, social media, all that has changed the game completely.
It's kind of funny because like you, as an instrumentalist, you want to maybe collaborate with somebody who actually has vocals too, and then you're doing like, and then Santana calls, right, and then you collaborate with more instrumental, but it's amazing, but you still don't have the vocal.
Yeah, and that was really, like I said, Santana, way before I met him, was a hero because of the way he was addressing instrumental music, right? It was way before Kenny G or anything like that. Like this guy found a way to add vocals in a way of like kind of, chanting, because it was Latin rock, like
Okay.
hard. The first time I ever saw Carlos live, I was like, it blew me away. It was like I was at an AC/DC concert.
Yeah.
But his approach was more in the veins in a very creative way that influenced me a lot with vocals, which was, like chanting, where, he had a group of singers in the band that would do like, Oye, como va, right? Black Magic Woman. And then Carlos is blowing all over that, right? Like he's and his sound is so identifiable as a guitar player. It's him. And then, of course, as time went by, and he had a huge resurgence with Matchbox 20.
Oh, loved that.
Yes.
Loved that collab.
Yes. So it came full circle where they, the industry obviously accepted, that cross between instrumental and vocal. And that was really a big model for me.
And it was something new. It's always the new thing that takes off eventually.
Yeah.
Sometimes it needs some time, but eventually it'll replace the old thing.
Yep.
Mr. Rockstar. No. So you really do fit that role of a rock star. Like you dress it, you act it, you are it. What is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's great. That it was always, always, always very important to me. If you look again through history, everybody wears their personality, their persona.
Hmm.
And I don't know, just organically, I knew even as a young kid that had to be part of the game. Like I want people to dress like me because that guy's, you know what I mean? And it wasn't ego or anything like that,
No.
because I was drawn to being different,
Yeah.
to looking different, I'm just
Standing
drawn
out.
to it and standing out. Yeah, man, because that's what's gonna inspire people, man.
Exactly.
And there's no question when you're walking down, the mall somewhere or whatever, it's like, yeah, he's a musician. You know what I mean? And it's not because of the hair. You just have that entire vibe.
I get that all the time. Even if I'm pulling up to a Jack in the Box, and I'm sitting there at 3 a.m. waiting for my, tacos or whatever. And I mean, I'm telling you, it's happened so many times. Like, hey, does anybody tell? Are you famous? You look like a rock. I mean, it happens all the, and at the most random times too. Like I'm not even paying attention to it, and it's a thrill. It's a thrill, but it's also it really is, the world kind of telling you that you're on the right path, man.
Speaking on that real quick. So Matchbox, or
Yeah.
not Matchbox, Jack in the Box.
Ah,
A little bit different.
Both, either.
Little bit
We'll
different.
talk about both.
What's your favorite fast food? It's 2 a.m, 3 a.m after a gig.
nothing
You
else
called,
is available.
You called me. I didn't pick up. What are you getting?
Okay. Popeyes, Louisiana Kitchen.
Okay. Okay.
I wasn't expecting
I
that.
wasn't expecting
I was
that either.
expecting chalupa from Taco Bell or something.
I could see that. That fits you.
I
That
mean,
fits you,
typically
Joe.
I try to avoid fast food. No offense, but when I do, there's ones that they're doing it right.
So what do you get after? It's 3 a.m after a gig. Do you eat? Do you just go straight to sleep? What do you do?
I got this thing my whole life where like I can't sleep unless I eat.
So what do you eat? The balls? The balls we ate that while editing those things? A little bit of hummus? A little bit of
If
no,
it's
what is
around,
it?
I mean, I cook that stuff a lot myself.
Oh, so you're not even just getting the pre-made balls. You like to cook your own balls.
If I've got the balls to make the balls,
You make the balls.
I make the balls. Yeah, of course. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
I was
Speaking
just-
of my culture,
Yeah, it just takes too much time in there though.
yeah,
The kitchen.
Well, I figured out that I've spent so much time doing this. I might as well use my time well.
Do something with it.
Yeah, and with my lady, I'm ramping up a hopefully very in the
Is that
near
coming?
future is a like a YouTube series of cooking and
Is this an exclusive?
sure.
There we go. We got the exclusive, Josh.
And I want to come. And don't get me wrong. I'm not going off the rails here. I want in a creative way to combine music with it.
Oh yeah, no. Like we talked about. I don't know how much you want to dive into it right now.
Absolutely, I'm down.
I love the idea that you had of doing the podcast. So he's going to do a podcast while cooking, incorporating some music stuff into it. Like
yeah.
I think I watched you on another podcast saying something about this, so it might not be an exclusive. But
that comes out on
Okay.
4 or 5 days. Okay, it's not out there yet. We get there.
But really, my first foray into that was a show that I created called at the time Vineyard Jazz.
Yes.
And I took a small crew from Napa to the Central Coast, and we went to like 22, 23 wineries.
I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah, and for 2 weeks, actually, it ended up where we went back again. So it was really 4 weeks of covering those wineries, interviewing the proprietors, interviewing the winemakers, and the fascinating stories that come out of that. And I did combine music with that.
The video you have on
Yep.
your Instagram alone is just the
Yep.
concept behind it is just amazing. I think.
Since I did that show, I knew that I was going to circle back around and bring something even more developed.
Well,
life.
let's put something together.
Fingers crossed. I'm there. You know it.
I got the gear.
Yep.
Let's
Yes,
do
you
it.
do.
Let's do this
You're
thing.
the perfect person.
Going back to music a little bit. What did you go to school for music? What I know you mentioned that you went to college. What college did you go to?
I studied at a college in Miami and which was one of the best music schools, recognized as one of the best music schools in the country. And I did not get an actual degree. And I don't want to be a bad influence, but it really became something that was expressed to me that really a degree in music doesn't
get you any further.
it doesn't yeah it's like if you have a degree in any other field, it's that degree that you walk in with your resume. You do not do that with this. It's really just knowledge. I didn't finish because I started my project.
I believe that. So, like, can you read music? Like, is like music theory or whatever it's called, like all those kinds of things. Is that kind of what you were being taught in school?
Yes. Even voice training and of course music theory, and performance training. But one of the things that kind of turned me off about going to like school for music was that a message that they send is like, even from your first day, is that being in a music program at a college does not mean doing concerts. And that really turned me off, because that's why for me. That's my why, man. Like I wanted, like, and they kind of shunned away from that, almost like it was like, no, we don't do that.
It's kind of like for producers almost versus like actual musicians or artists. Like
I do not know why you would say that to a bunch of youngsters, like really aspiring. Now, I get it. A lot of those degrees are, if I had finished, it would have been a music education degree.
I gotcha.
You want to become a teacher, but
yeah,
there's so many different ways to teach.
Oh, so you're saying, so yeah, like history of music isn't teaching you how to be a better musician, right? So you go to school and you learn from a book, and it's like, what you're saying is it should be more, you go and you play your instrument the whole time.
Yeah, and I believe that there should be interaction of, like, I love to perform. It is very natural to me on stage, and I love captivating an audience.
Well, you think,
why don't they teach that?
You'd think that would be something like stage. What is it? Stage handling or stage like
Presence.
Stage presence. That's the word. Yeah, exactly. They'd think they'd put you in that position so that you could practice, learn stage presence, and just get over stage fright a little bit. Like, I'm sure so many of these musicians are a little bit shy, and being in a campus or something where you could just perform in front of your peers once a week or something, that you're going to break through that shyness. You're going to, I'm sure they do that with actors all the time.
All the time. And yes, I mean, 8 years ago, I started a journey into professional acting, which actually ended up surprisingly making me a better musician, because you're consuming so much dialogue. But that's very true. Like, guys, like, deep dive into learning their instruments, especially in college, and they get on stage after they've learned all that, and they have no idea what to do with their body.
So a lot of these, up-and-coming musicians might be shy or whatever. You, on the other hand, I don't think you ever had that problem. You are outgoing. You are vibrant. You are, What are some of the craziest experiences and times that you've had while gigging, while doing your thing?
Every audience is different, and when you're in front of thousands of people, what that brings out of you when you have them in the palm of your hand. It, like I said, even before I learned how to efficiently play an instrument, that was just, I don't know. It wasn't even a second thought for me. And of course everybody gets nervous before they go on stage, but my DNA makes me use that.
Yeah, no.
Like, I don't know. I've always had that, and I'm so grateful for it, because
it's the it factor.
Well, you're influencing the people around you. Energy works that way.
Yeah.
It's infectious. And so, over the last few years, I started doing raves with DJs.
We're talking like full, like Molly,
raves,
MDMA.
like in places that it's like secret place.
Okay.
Like in the mountains somewhere, or even in a warehouse in downtown LA.
That's what I was imagining.
Yeah.
So you had
Yeah.
Those get pretty crazy, I hear. I've never been.
Yeah, they get pretty wild, and it's like even though you're not with a band, it's still so live. You know, where a DJ lets you go off and jump into the mosh pit.
Yeah, with the sax.
Yeah.
So you have mosh pitted with the saxophone before.
Well, I haven't. You can't really bang, but like where everybody gets around me,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
rips out their phones, and I'm on the ground
So that-
or whatever, and and you have
That happened the other day at the shoot with the at the thing the other day.
Yeah.
Where I
yeah.
no, okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
And that's what I mean. You know, it's like, you know, you're the leader. Like they're in the palm of your hands. That's what you're there to do. And then of course the list goes on. Even before the DJ stuff, you know, all that experience came from playing with my live band.
Are you the only one in the saxophone world that has this much crowd interaction that will go down on your knees and literally play?
I don't know.
Can you? Is there anybody else?
Seen, I mean, a lot of great, amazing sax players that I've opened up for and looked up to have their own performance style, and going into the audience is nothing new. It's just what they do with it.
Okay.
You know, I want to interact. You know, I'm not afraid to be touched, or like if something, you know, and have the interaction, because you're looking at real in the moment vibe. You know, people are like that excited, and you're feeling this confirmation of exchange of energy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's just like this is why I'm doing it.
If you ever had someone do a no touch or touch the saxophone in a no way.
I've had people try. They for the most part, they understand body language. I think the most
You never had
that
like a
I'd
drunk
really have to
person.
be careful is like, yeah, I mean, not so much with that, but you know,
Okay.
kids actually. Kids
That makes sense.
Want to,
It just
because
grab
it's
it.
this. Look at it.
It's shiny.
Yeah, it's shiny, and it's like, and I'm very responsible with it. Like I don't discourage them.
Mm-hmm. But you try
Like,
to.
it's okay to touch it, but here, you know,
I
here's
think
how.
Alec meant like your other saxophone too.
That was part two. That was part one of the question. He ignored part two, or he ignored part one. He only answered part two.
No, I didn't take the bait. Well,
You're the master of not saying.
I've never really had like I definitely get, you know,
See what I did there?
I definitely get. Again, it sounds egotistical, but a lot of times women want to like put their hands in my hair, but that's not inappropriate. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Keep that hair clean. I see it sparkling over there.
When you play with a band, you know how sometimes the lead vocalist will give the guitarist a solo or something. Are you ever, as a saxophonist, given like a solo, a time to shine, and then it's just like you do the same thing we all know as like a guitar solo? Do you have?
That's his mosh pit moments.
Yeah, yes, and that's the thing with the saxophone, is that it's very much like a guitar with that. Is that it's a lead instrument. It's a straight line instrument. It's not playing chords. Guitar does play chords, so they can play with or solo. Whereas the sax is more or less a solo instrument, but it's also can be a horn section instrument where you can be like more collaborative in the parts of
You could blow horns together
of a song, correct? and vice versa. Like I love giving my band members, you know, the spotlight. and I it's part of the show, you know, like I want them to go out there with me sometimes, you know.
Speaking of solos, you want to see what's going on here? Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, I'll rip some notes out for you guys. Thank you for asking.
No, I've seen this one time before, and I'm excited to see it again.
Do it.
Let's do it. The cover whip off. My guy.
Little taste of the tenor saxophone.
No, I mean that was just a little example of what you do. When you played at that one time at the other thing, you went for like I think it was like 3, 4, 5 minutes straight, and it was just. I still have to get you that video too. No, we'll release that with that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'll be, yo, you're special with that, and
Yeah.
the S.
Logo, yeah.
Superman. Is that what it stands for? Superman sax.
That's actually for Selmer.
Also
I could go with
Superman.
Superman, but it's blue.
No, also Superman of the sax world.
Beautiful little logo, I gotta say.
Yeah. No, but you are truly fucking gifted when it comes to that shit.
Yeah, that was
Like,
amazing. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
that's got to be so. You've traveled everywhere, right? So what country truly appreciates you the best with that instrument?
Gosh, I went to Asia a few times, and in Taiwan and in China, I did a couple runs where. First of all, you're American, but and they really, really just received us so well, and it was they definitely admirers of not just the saxophone, but like just American performance and stage performance and extremely responsive. Talk about an exotic part of the world, and I've made many friends in Asia and Korea and Japan and mainland China and Taiwan.
Do you speak any of those languages?
I've learned a few words, and I wouldn't even try to.
What is it like going over there as an American?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of English being spoken over there? Is it a lot of translations going on? How do you communicate? Like you're going to the restaurant just to get some food. That's
a good question. There is a good amount of Asian culture society that does have English, but it's mixed in, and you do need to travel
with somebody
that to cover you.
And that's how you had
people
someone
that their English is very broken, and especially in mainland China.
I can imagine.
The more Western influenced countries are going to be a little bit more on the ball, but even those, like their main language is Mandarin, in the Chinese cultured countries.
So is that like Beijing and like?
Yeah, Beijing, mainland China. The part of China, like Shanghai and Hong Kong, is Cantonese, not Mandarin.
Oh,
which
okay.
is a variation of, if you hear it, you can kind of tell. It's like, wait, that's not Mandarin, but it sounds like Mandarin.
Okay.
But in Asia, some Asians don't speak Cantonese. I have no idea what they're saying. Or they can float back and forth.
What do you prefer being over? Like, what do you think about LA? Like, do you prefer LA over there? Do you prefer Miami over LA? What do you think your favorite place is?
Well, I did come to LA because as I was growing and evolving with my journey, industry, time and time again, was encouraging me to get closer to an industry-centered town.
Okay.
LA it's the center of the universe when it comes to the like. They're all based here, man. Like, and to be in that mix is in and of itself an inspiration, knowing that you're no longer a big fish in a small pond.
You're in the ocean.
And a big, big pond. And that lights a fire on your ass, man, because you know that there's around every corner someone is probably better than you.
What were some of those things you did to stand out when you came here?
Ooh.
And what did you have to do to stand out in terms of, like, for us nowadays, it would be making clips on social media or whatever. Like, you didn't have social media like that. You had to reach the people where they're at.
Well, especially when I first moved here, I was like taking 2 steps back in order to hopefully take 4 steps forward. Mm-hmm. And I discovered street performing. And
my secret to marketing. And
it literally every weekend for a good handful of years, I was performing on the street and with lots and lots of people, and that got me established here. And then from there, I because of that, I started performing at Universal Studios, at their complex, at their City Walk complex, for a long time, and then Disney, and and then you're kind of moving up the ladder a little bit in the sense of these are real big organizations that you're getting in front of, man.
Well, you played in front of pretty big name person. You want to talk about that real quick? Yeah, I think you know what one I'm talking about. The George Lucas.
Oh, wow.
Who'd you think I was talking about?
Well, when I was playing at City Walk, every once in a while you'd see celebrities just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Miley Cyrus was standing there watching me perform when I was at City Walk. And one night, I'm performing on a pretty quiet evening at City Walk, and slowly walking in front of me, it was George Lucas. And
No big deal.
yeah, and it was a moment of like, wow, wait, that's George Lucas.
That's an insane. I mean, that's one of those ones.
Fanboy. I don't go asking for autographs, but in this case, after he watched me for a minute, he continued on. I finished my song, I put my horn down, I grabbed one of my CDs, and I chased him down. Who knows what would have happened? He was with his family, and I literally asked his wife, "Hey, do you think it would be okay if I walked up to him?" The funny thing that she said to me, I said, "I'm a huge fan." She was like, "Yeah, so was everybody."
She's like, "You're not special because of it."
But he was so cool. He was in the back of this this souvenir shop looking at Star Wars figures, figurines.
No,
Literally
just
going like this by himself, standing there, and I walked
checking
in
out
and
the merch.
"Hey, George, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was playing saxophone back there." He's like, "Oh yeah, it sounded great." I'm like, "Hey, would you mind signing my CD?" And he did. And he goes, "Sure."
No,
It was
that's
just like that. It was just like no weirdness, because I've seen celebrities, like when you're observing and people walk up for the autograph, and I've seen them say no.
Mm-hmm.
That's awful. Awful. Well, because who knows? Maybe I saw Pierce Brosnan.
Anything could be.
And I saw him literally like, this isn't the time. You're interrupting me. I'm with my wife. I'm enjoying my evening, or whatever it is. And it's true, man. People don't know what those boundaries are because they think when it comes to celebrities that they know you, but they don't.
And it's all about how you ask. If you're just, yo, let me get a picture real quick.
Yeah, or they stand in front of you and flip the camera on without asking.
Oh, that's got to be the worst.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
That'll piss people off really fast.
So, you meet George Lucas. Does that inspire your acting a little bit? Is that where...
Without question.
Yeah,
without question.
Okay.
And that's another thing about moving to LA is that you're in it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And they all live here.
So...
And, even the knowledge of that.
Yeah.
And I've come across so many, just like, and when you experience that and see it and feel it, it's like, I'm in the right place.
And seeing it daily is just a motivational thing. Like, coming from Jersey, you don't see... I mean, let's just look at the bare bones of it. The cars that you see driving around LA.
Yeah.
The people inside the cars, you can only imagine. Like...
Yeah, it's a show.
Motivation.
Yeah, and that was kind of the breaking point for me living in South Florida, and touring on the East Coast was awesome. It was memories I'll never forget. But you knew that you were kind of removed from who you really needed to be in front of. Even though I had a great manager and an amazing representation, and for all the beauty and benefits that was, there's a difference. There's a difference in being in an industry town.
Let's get into the fun stuff.
Okay.
Hollywood's making movies wrong, and we know how to make them better. And we came up with that idea, the idea of multicam, the idea of leveraging influencers for marketing, the idea of... we talked about a lot of things.
Your theory, and how it just made too much sense, and I was like, oh my god, this is something we have to run with somehow.
My producer friend says still to this day he does not want influencers, and I cannot get him to go the influencer route when that's everything everybody wants. He still wants actors, and if you look on all the social medias, the actors don't have it, the influencers do.
Yes. I get it. I get where he's coming from as well, though, because historically, influencers have ruined movies because they're so improperly used. You can't have them be the leading role unless it's an actor, someone like my buddy Garrett. He is trying to be an actor. He's a great actor. He can carry that. But you can't have your just everyday average vlogger be your main actor. Like you can have them as a very small supporting character that just helps with the marketing a little bit, all that stuff, but
Right, but we're really talking about an influencer who wants to be an actor who has the eyeballs compared to an actor who is an actor who doesn't have the eyeballs.
If we're doing those comparisons, yeah, no, you got to run with that. But even on the supplementary characters and the side characters, bring those other influencers in. They don't have to be a main role taking over the whole movie and making it, that whole horror show production that you see so often in the influencer world. Do it properly. Do it with a touch. You don't need to have the whole splash. Just touch it in there.
It's a great point, and it was one of the biggest learning curves for me when I took my first step in the world of being trained as an actor. I was like, I've been on stage my whole life. This
a little bit different now.
Ooh, what a wake-up call that was. And that's, I think, the learning curve that you see happening with influencers.
If you were to write a script, who would you want to do that soundtrack? Would it be you? Would it be someone you know? Would it be someone you've never worked with before?
Wow. A big part of the answer to that question is what the subject matter of the film is, which would influence the kind of music that you would bring in, which in turn would influence the artists that you would want to attract. Of course, I would want to have as much of a hand in composing and producing that music, but I'm not on an island, and it would be a joy to explore some of the greats. In the music department of filmmaking, there's legend film composers out there that would definitely come to mind, like Hans Zimmer. There's, the list is so in that world, just in their creativity to create what would become like the audio calling card for a specific film.
No, literally.
So that is, the first thing I would like to, I'd love to do. And if it's even a little bit similar to me bringing the elements that I brought together from my music career, it's sure to be the most exciting thing, because I pride myself in putting good teams together and collaborating with people like you, and your intuition is your best.
Trust your first instinct.
Yeah, man, it's your best guide.
Yeah.
Who would be your number one artist? Who would you love to have come on and do a song? I love Shashaty, and I don't know if she's ever done anything on a movie or not. I'm sure you would know. Who would you pick to have on the movie that actually just sings a song?
It's amazing that you just said her, because I just got off the road with a pretty high-end Shashaty tribute band, and those saxophone parts are iconic. So the joy, even though it really wasn't her, the joy of doing that in a big theater and feeling what it's like, because you have to play those parts note for note.
Yeah, I can imagine.
She definitely, it was always been a dream for me to talk about, I would give anything to be able to perform with her. She's one of my favorite.
So you'd pick her to be on one of your movies?
It's hard not to.
Yeah. We got her.
She's just got so much soul. Her music is so soulful, which is great for film.
Yeah. She's so beautiful.
For the right moment. Are you kidding? Yeah. Ugh, I hope she continues to tour. I've heard things both ways, because there are giant gaps of time that go between her releasing an album and touring. She does not do the typical
consistency.
The pattern every 2 years kind of a thing.
Going back to this, I thought this vineyard jazz thing was interesting. And are there parallels between music and wine? And can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Of course, it just what I discovered in touring and filming all of those beautiful wineries is that the world of winemaking and wine and wineries is a subculture, and Napa, for example, to me is like an adult playground, like an adult theme park. So if you follow me with that, obviously the kind of music as a saxophonist, you know, it was just well known way before I moved even close to wine country, that was becoming a very regular approach with wineries and proprietors, is that they wanted something to match the music and the guests that were coming and tasting, and they want to keep them there.
Yeah.
And it fits like a glove. It just like anything in that world of jazz or sax. I've been very well. I was performing at a winery yesterday for Mother's Day. I played for 4 hours in Temecula at Callaway Winery.
Okay.
And they've brought me back every once in a while. And again, you're on a stage and everybody sits around you and they've got their wine, and it's perfect.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful.
And why not? Like, why not create a food and wine? Because that's what they're doing when you're tasting. They're pairing, like all of that stuff, and integrating the music just makes sense.
So I have a question. I don't drink wine.
Okay.
What's the difference between red and white wine?
One's red and one's white.
Besides that, what makes it red? Is it the type of grapes? Is it
it's a type
the
of
amount
grapes.
of pressure that they use when forcing those grapes into fucking liquid?
Put that so eloquently. It's the type of grape. Typically white wine. The grapes are lighter.
Okay.
The red wine. If you go by that particular vineyard, what's growing on those
The reds
vines,
and the purples.
you'll see the big fat clusters of red grapes.
Okay.
And each one of those plants is a certain type of wine. So you'll have a Malbec plant. You will have a Cabernet plant. You'll have a Zinfandel plant.
That's interesting.
You will have a Sauvignon Blanc, which is a white.
Yeah, I've
grape.
heard of that one.
So they'll even label those columns, those rows of you'll
This is
see
this,
that
this is
that's
this.
what that is going to be.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But why are some of them more expensive than others? Is it like a better grape, or is it better soil, or is it just purely branding, or?
It can come down to the higher quality of grape, even where it's being grown, the region. Obviously, these are microclimates that are being heavily
I've heard
affected
regions.
by the growth. One winery I was playing at up north of Santa Barbara actually took Rhone Valley, France, vines, put them into quarantine for years until they were able to bring it to U.S. soil and plant it.
So,
And that's,
that's exclusive.
Yeah, it's very exclusive. I mean, you're talking about some wineries that are, and it's the winemaker. Winemaker's the chef. And I've done a lot of interviewing with winemakers, man, and where you sit there and you taste and they tell you really the whole story, and like why and how, and we don't realize that on the bottle there's a
story,
year. It's like, oh, so I just asked, I'm like, so when you see the 2000 and what, or 19 something on a bottle, is that when it was bottled, or what is that? And the winemaker said that's when the grape was picked.
Really? Okay, I did not know
Crazy.
that. That is crazy.
And then after that, they get put into crushers and they get put into barrels and then they ferment.
How long does the fermentation take? Do you know?
It depends on the quality of wine and even the barrel that they're putting in. If it's
I've heard
being put
that.
in oak, it's oak aged wine.
Yeah.
Right? So it can be. Watch my show. I mean, it's just different. Like the quality can be different because obviously it's fermenting. It's turning into alcohol, and the better wines, you're not really tasting the alcohol.
Yeah.
And that's the side that I would let a winemaker really 100%. But just off the top of my head, it's months and months where it sits in there even for a year.
That's patience right there.
Yeah, I mean, what comes to mind? Here's a stupid question, or maybe not stupid. I don't know. You know how musicians kind of see colors when they're playing? When you're playing the saxophone at a vineyard and people are having wine and cheese, are there certain notes you can play or a certain something you can play for a different wine?
Like a tempo almost?
It's interesting. I had a producer that was interested in vineyard jazz and helping produce it. And that was a concept he wanted me to explore, like literally, because there is, and you can go online and search it, but there's scientific evidence that musical frequencies affect.
No, that's
plans.
interesting.
Human voice is an instrument, trained human voices especially. That's an instrument, make no mistake.
And then it just shapes.
There's just evidence like where they've studied it under a microscope. I mean, I see
That's so crazy to think
crazy.
about.
It's crazy.
Like, I need to, would it be physicist? What kind of person would study that kind of thing?
So, no, I mean, I don't know.
Biologist?
A horticulturalist, someone that actually.
Someone studies the culture of horse?
Yes, Alec, that's exactly what that means.
Horticulturist? Did I hear that right? Are we going in the right direction, boys?
So on that note, no pun intended, we're kind of winding down, but I have one more question that's been on my mind. The news, the health department has always been talking about wine. It's one day it's good for you, one day it's bad for you, one day it does this to your heart, one day it does. What are your thoughts on wine? Is it good? Is it bad? Should you just drink grape juice? Should you just eat a grape? What is the deal?
There's different foods that are heart healthy, but there's no question that red wine is healthy. It's heart healthy. The misconception is don't start slamming
bottles of red wine every night.
Right. It's like, okay, tonight I'm going to have a half a glass of wine.
What is that, 4 ounces? Or is it 8 ounces?
Something like that. Like I think it's 4 or 6 ounces,
Okay.
if that. And if you're doing that on a regular basis, there's no question. There's tons of qualities inside of those grapes that are heart and respiratory healthy.
So why not just eat the grape or red grape juice?
Have you ever tried to eat a wine grape?
No, yes,
yeah,
they're
they're
very bitter.
seedy, and then they got seeds.
Or if they sit in the sun, they become on steroids, sugar, like you would not believe.
Really?
Okay, so it's a red wine grape, not just a regular red grape. They have to be
Table
wine
grapes are
grapes.
different.
Yeah, no. I've had the Italian red wine grapes, and like I feel like they're very seedy. There's seeds in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, there's a whole filtering process. I mean, it's
They just
I highly
crush the
recommend-
seeds.
Hey, whatever works.
One thing I want to talk about before we close out, it's a new software we have coming out.
Yes.
We're not going to tell the name of it. We don't need to give that away. But pretty much, it's an AI-based software. It's going to do some pretty extraordinary things when it comes to saving time for creators and influencers. When it comes to, creating your own content. So Joe and I, we've been cooking it up. We've been, it's been a slow process, but for the past
Several months.
Past several months, we've been making this happen, putting this together, and
It's gone from just a idea that you originally brought to the table, and it's now rolling. We have developers that are working very closely with us, and who would have imagined, especially me as a recording artist and acting and movie,
extraordinaire.
I don't know about use the word extraordinary. I would never imagine in a million years that I would be developing a software with somebody, but the idea is just so exciting and fascinating, and it's only brought our business relationship so much closer, and I think the future is promising.
I agree with that. And, just stay tuned in as we get closer to release date, and as we lock those kinds of things in, we're going to be talking more and more about it. Don't sleep on it.
Don't
Pay
sleep on it.
attention.
All you influencers out there, and
Like to say they have influencers. They don't. Guess what? We will.
yeah.
Simple as
You
that.
definitely want to keep an eye on this because this is something that's going to change.
And we're gonna bleep out too, and bleep it out there too.
Okay.
Do it there too.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Yeah.
To close this out, I ask a question. Question about grinding gears. Question about, just what really is just a little pebble in your shoe. What really just pisses you off? What is something, could be anything, that just grinds your gears into that next level?
Cruelty to animals.
Whoa.
I second that.
I
I will go to
third that.
prison for somebody who is cruel to animals. I will kill them.
Injustice.
Let's get him locked in a room with Michael Vick.
Yeah, the worst thing I can't stand is bullies.
I can agree with that. I like that.
Mine's a little less harsh. I have one. I just today is like hate people who stand on escalators, walk their steps, just like the stairs. You can go up faster. If they pulled the electricity on that, what are they going to do? Stand there? No. You're going to walk up. So get there twice as fast and step, please, people. Alec, what's yours?
I think my biggest thing is dealing with stupid people. I hate having to have fake conversations with these stupid people that just, and I'm not talking about podcasts, because if you come on my podcast, then that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the little stupid talk I do on shoots, and some random person comes up and says, "Oh, I like your camera. What kind of camera is that?" It drives me fucking crazy.
Kind of meaningless conversation.
Yeah. Fuck it all.
Unless it's a pro that asks you something and you immediately realize that person,
Different story.
is
I'm talking about the
not-
retards out there that just don't know anything about anything, and they're just wasting air for the rest of us.
That's another bleep, too. Bleep.
Wasting air is fine.
No, wait.
Wait, which one are you talking about bleeping? We're not bleeping retards either. No, the retards stay in. This is 2025.
Fair enough.
All right, brother. Fucking love you. Thank you for coming on. Joe Shashaty, everyone. Where can they find you? We're going to have some links in the description, but tell us right now. Where can they find you? Instagram, website.
Start with Instagram at Shashaty. SHASHATY.
Easy enough.
Yeah. And then any link that you want after that is going to be in my profile. So
Give us the website real quick.
www.shashatymusic.com.
That's a tough one, guys. That's a tough one, but make sure you go type that in, check that out. Brother, thank you again.
Much love, bro. Thank you.
Right back at you.
Love you, man.
Love you too.